Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome each and every one of you to another piss poor evening here on this miserable little ball in the universe. Because, ladies and gentlemen, as is the case with most YouTubers who have absolutely fucking nothing to talk about or contribute whatsoever to the rest of the world, we are going to continue to do another Christian article. Now, I think I'm gonna dedicate this one to Chris and social media, as it were. So the first one we're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, is Chris's Okcupid profile. Oh, indeed. So let's just get started. Okcupid, one of the more popular dating websites, matches people based on how they respond to questions that they may answer at their leisure. Unlike sites such as Match.com, Okcupid allows its users to message and search each other for free, only charging for perks like ad removal and unlimited inbox space. Like so many other dating websites before, Christian Weston Chandler joined this one with high hopes and has renewed his profile many times, despite never successfully attracting anybody through it. You're about to work out why. Let's get started. Quick Sonichu profile. It's never a good start, ladies and gentlemen, when you put Sonichu as your title because, well, there are several things you don't really do for this sort of profile, but let's go through them one by one. Chris created his first Okcupid profile in late February 2009. He gave up on it quickly after he never answered any of the questions or quizzes that the site uses to build a personality profile of each user. Probably because he was spending far too much time February playing video games or talking to Ivy. It's likely he quit using it after girls failed to flood his inbox with offers of true and honest love. In the usual Chris style, the profile is woefully incomplete, featuring only a very brief personal summary and a looking for box in which he checked every available option, including casual sex. I wonder if he included the one that said no sex at all. While mildly entertaining, this profile didn't last long. After a short time, it was hacked by trolls. Fortunately, Chris would make more profiles in the future. Screen cap of his profile. Let's go through these. So, I love how the fact there's apparently an enemy thing here to put on a Okcupid profile. I've only used Okcupid once in my life, and I wonder how. Nah, I'm not gonna say, I'm not just gonna make a profile just so I can get into a correspondence with someone just to prove that I could. But let's 58% match, 53% friend, 35% enemy. Apparently the site doesn't know how, percentages work, or out of 100. If you take my 35% chance, then you have a 1 in 14/16th chance of becoming a match. Anyway, sorry about that. 28, male, straight, single, Charlottesville, Virginia. I am autistic. Well, I can at least say he's upfront about it. That's pretty much fun and creative. Not too sure about these last two. The skinny. Why really? No, Chris. The first thing, if you look at this profile here, where he's just sitting here going, yeah, I know. Anyone could see that Chris is obviously, not skinny. So I don't know what that's. Is that his nickname or something like that? Anyway, my self-summary. I'm young at heart. I'm currently writing a comic book, and I've written quite a few issues so far. So technically what he should say is he's writing a comic book series, or he's writing separate. Well, I know realistically, if he was saying he's written. You get the idea. I am a bit shy, but I would enjoy the company of a beautiful girl who likes some of the things I do. Okay, well, that seems fair enough, I suppose. I also like to have fun when I can, and I don't really like to be alone. Okay, well, listen, guys, I am no love guru. I'm no Mike Myers, but I think you don't really want to emphasize that you don't really like. You sort of want to talk about what you have to offer more than, gloating about, is that something you do on a dating profile? If honestly, I would just keep things very short. One of the greatest things I found out, ladies and gentlemen, and when I was just left university, is that it's generally better for stuff like this to keep things very short but eye-catching. Something that will get people to look your way. So write in a very short amount of words. Like, I'd imagine I could probably write a summary about myself, a self-summary in about, like, 50 words maximum. And we'll work its way up from there. I graduated from high school on the honor roll, and I am doing very well at PVCC. A lot of men make false promises to their girlfriends. Kind of a strange one to bring up there. But I am totally different, because apparently every man lies to their girlfriends at least once, or numerous times, I don't know. When it comes to what I can offer. Okay, well, you know what I was saying earlier? Maybe this is the point. Maybe this is the point I was trying to make. Let's see exactly what Chris's selling points are. Okay, hit me with your best shot, Chris. I can seriously promise care, respect, empathy, and love. I think that most girls deserve the world. And I would do my best to give it to them. Okay, well, why exactly, But you see, what this is telling me, ladies and gentlemen, if I was, a boyfriend-free girl, let's forget I just said that. I'm not entirely sure this would present Chris as, someone quite, if I was a girl, or if I was gay, my ideal partner would be someone who would be very ambitious, somebody who was very brave and who is not afraid. I like people who are not afraid of being themselves and, accepting, responsibility, because, what, they do it because, well, whether or not you want to say it's the right thing or not, they do it because they know they have to. They are responsible enough to care about themselves and their surroundings, and one of the ways to do that is to contribute to society like everyone else does. That's the sort of thing I would ask. When Chris says something like, I can seriously promise care, what I'm almost getting from this, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm being rather critical at this point because I think it's important to mention, is that Chris is just going to do every single thing he can, not because this is going to get him a girlfriend, because that's what he thinks he's good. He thinks this is absolutely what a girl wants to hear. Something that is, quite frankly, not entirely unrealistic, but something that's going to portray Chris as almost something a pushover. Like, this is presenting almost like a dubious sort of intention, like, a double, oh god, what's the thing called? Like, there's dubious intentions involved. I haven't had the best of luck with girlfriends in my past. There was a lot of lying and backstabbing done to me. Well, okay, Chris, I don't think it's a good idea to go over, past stuff here, because this is if this is a self-summary, it should be purely sticks to the present. It shouldn't be about the past or the future. It should be about who you are right now, because imagine this is like you're saying hello to somebody in the real world, and this is your foot in the door. There was a lot... Okay, and I'm looking for someone who is honest and will love me for me. Okay, well, that seems quite nice. Who I'd like to meet, and this is a pretty bad one, I must admit. Someone with a happy, positive personality. So, I take it Chris doesn't like miserable people, and I would say there's a lot of people who don't like miserable people, but it's about what's on the inside, I suppose, that counts. I mean, people aren't just... unless, young at heart. Well, the definition of young at heart, I think there's something we'll have to advise Chris on what he means by this. Very pretty. Okay, so now it's going on looks, so I'm glad he mentioned 18 to 23, because I would have insinuated that Chris would have liked to have banged a child almost by this. Lives in or around the Charlottesville area or Ruckersville, both in the state of Virginia. I've got to admit, actually, that's kind of like a... Well, that seems like an easy one because, you know, maybe Chris didn't want to do long distance or he was just in and around Virginia areas. Smoke-free. I'm not entirely sure why that has to be included anyway because, well, Chris plays video games. I mean, there's a lot on Chris's summary sheet that he's straight up not telling people about anyway. Non-alcoholic, so he doesn't want he wants his girlfriend to be straight edge, and Chris doesn't, apparently. White, I would almost want to say that this alone is good enough reason to say why Chris's approach will simply never work, because, in fact, actually, I'll tell you what, and does not already have a boyfriend. Okay, that kind of goes without saying, but let's talk about this for 1 second. Let's talk about White. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let me make something very, very clear to every single one of you now, just so everybody understands this point. When you say you only want to date white women, or one of your demands is that you only want to date a white woman, Chris seems to think, and I could honestly tell you right now, because he doesn't state anywhere here saying that, you know, no offense to, you know, black people or anything like that, or Asian people, I'm not going to include this. When you specifically state, and you boil this down to nothing more than skin color, it's going to make you out like an absolute racist. And that, and to any woman whatsoever, would point out exactly why this sounds as almost as desperate as it is, because, you know, you ever heard of the phrase, you know, beggars can't be choosers? Chris seems to think that just by saying this, he's clearing the air of exactly what he wants. And I'll say this, Chris does summarize himself as young at heart because he's not so much, I don't really want to say naive, but what Chris seems to fail to realize is that the implications of what he is saying and the way he's presented himself is absolutely... It is going to make people turn this guy down immediately. Because when you... Again, I'll have to say this again. Forget... Okay, let's just put the white aspect of one side, because that's already a deal killer anyway. He wants his girlfriend to, you know, be perfectly healthy, young... He's actually young both in mind and in body, and someone who's just close to him anyway. He wants convenience. He wants somebody who is convenient, somebody who is straight edge, somebody who is positive, which goodness knows what, and ultimately somebody who is not white. I'd say I might actually make a separate video entirely now. I'm very, very interested now, I suppose. Not because, you know, I feel like my dating history has been any better by comparison, but I could say without even trying that I could make a better profile than this. I say that as well because he doesn't list ethnicity, even though, well, it's pretty clear. Height, no. Body type, well, he calls himself the skinny, but I would say more of a Matt Lucas circa 2010. Looking for new friends long term, basically just tapping everything. Activity partners, well, that we know that's no. Long distance, pen pals, casual sex. Again, listen, Chris, I'm just going to say this again. Don't put in stuff like casual sex, because that doesn't make you look as if like you want to take a relationship seriously after you just said you wanted to be in one. Smokes, doesn't put anything. Drinks, no. Drugs, religion, no. Well, job, again, pretty interesting. He'd leave that out anyway. And he would only include, you know, languages in there. So, judging by this profile alone, I think it's fairly safe to say that nobody really wanted this, because his views are misogynistic and racist at the end of the day. So, although I must say, I do think there are worse examples of Chris's, attempts at, what's the word? Attracting a mate. I say attracting a mate, but Chris would probably think that it would mean, doing some kind of dance in front of a bird, or just begging outright in the streets. Possibly. I don't know. Apparently he's going around playing with a taser. That's his prerogative anyway, not mine.